Today, we're diving into a really strange paradox. What if the very AI tools that are supposed to make us faster and smarter are, well, what if they're actually making us slower, less skilled, and trapping us in a beautiful cage we don't even know we're in? Let's figure this out.
Okay, so let's start with a genuine head-scratcher. This one comes from the world of software development, where AI is promising to, change absolutely everything. A really sharp research group called METR decided to put this to the test. They took a group of very experienced software developers and gave them some of the most advanced AI coding assistants out there just to see what would happen.
So, after the experiment, the researchers went up to the developers and asked them, "Hey, how'd it go? How did you feel?" And the answer was pretty unanimous. They felt like they were a massive 24% faster with the AI's help. They felt on top of their game, super efficient, totally productive.
But here's the twist. The hard data? It told a completely different and kind of shocking story. When they actually measured their output, those same developers were actually 19% slower. Not just slower, they were also more likely to introduce security flaws into their code. Whoa!
So, what is going on here? How can you feel 24% faster, but in reality be almost 20% slower? That's the big mystery we are going to solve today. And believe it or not, the answer starts almost 200 years ago.
To really get this, we've got to jump in our time machine. We're going back to the Industrial Revolution to see how the very idea of work got completely re-engineered.
So picture a master watchmaker from the 19th century. In their mind, they design the entire watch. We'll call that conception. And with their own hands, they build it. We'll call that execution. See? The thinking and the doing are totally united. Now contrast that with a worker on a factory assembly line. Their entire job is to put one tiny screw in the same hole all day long. The thinking part has been completely ripped away from the doing part.
This whole process has a name. It's called deskilling. Thinkers like Karl Marx and later Harry Braverman pointed this out. They said it was the central strategy of industrial capitalism. You take a really complex craft, you shatter it into a million simple, mindless tasks. And when you do that, you transfer the knowledge, and with it all the power, from the worker to the factory owner. It was never just about being more efficient. It was always about control.
Okay, so here's the thing. That exact same blueprint from the industrial age, it's being rolled out again, right now. But this time, the factory isn't for our hands. The new factory is for our minds. A French philosopher named Bernard Stiegler was warning us about this decades ago. He called it the Proletarianization of the mind. He was basically saying that our shiny new digital tools are tricking us into offloading our fundamental know-how, our savoir-faire, as the French say, onto these external systems that we don't own or control.
And you can see this new assembly line popping up everywhere. The programmer, who used to be this brilliant problem solver, is becoming a prompter, an editor of AI-generated code. The artist, once a master of technique, is becoming a curator of images the machine spits out. And it's happening to doctors and lawyers too. The core tasks that build expertise, like a young lawyer meticulously reading through thousands of documents, or a radiologist training their eye on countless scans, those are being automated away. And when you automate the practice, the skills just atrophy, they waste away. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. An MIT study found that when students used ChatGPT for their essays, their brains showed way less cognitive engagement. It's literally less work for the brain. Medical journals are publishing warnings left and right saying radiologists who lean too hard on AI could see their own diagnostic skills decay. And things have gotten so real that the California State Bar actually had to issue a warning to lawyers, saying, hey, just a reminder, you are still responsible when your AI assistant messes up.
So why is this happening on such a gigantic scale? I mean, what's the driving force here? To get that, we need to zoom out, way out, from the individual and look at the massive economic engine that's making all of this happen.
Let's use an analogy. I want you to imagine a big, beautiful green field in the middle of a village. It belongs to everyone. It's the village commons. People can graze their cows there, kids can play. It's a shared resource for the entire community. And for centuries, in places like England, this was a real thing. But then, a thing called the enclosure movement happened. Wealthy landowners came in, built big fences around these shared commons, and declared them private property. Just like that, the villagers lost their resource and had to go work in the landowners' new factories. Well, today, we are living through a digital enclosure. The vast, open commons of human knowledge, every book, every piece of art, every line of code, everything on the internet. is being scraped up and locked away behind the fences of private, corporate-owned AI models.
And the process is pretty straightforward. It happens in 4 steps. First, they scrape it all up. All of our collective public knowledge gets harvested. Then, it's enclosed inside a private AI model. Third, that model becomes a proprietary asset, a new kind of factory, a means of cognition. And finally, in the last step, access to our own culture, our own intellectual heritage, is rented back to us as a service, a subscription. The people who created all the knowledge become the tenants.
Which brings us full circle right back to that bizarre paradox we started with. Those developers who felt so much faster but were actually slower. We now have all the pieces of the puzzle. We're ready to uncover the secret ingredient that makes this whole system work so perfectly.
Just look at that gap again. A huge positive feeling of speed and power next to a negative reality of being slower and producing worse quality work. That disconnect, right there, that is the absolute key to everything.
And here it is. This is the most brilliant and maybe the most devious part of the whole thing. See, when that factory worker got de-skilled 100 years ago, they knew it. The work was boring, repetitive, soul-crushing. But cognitive de-skilling today, it feels completely different. It feels amazing. It feels like empowerment.
Psychologists call this the illusion of competence. The AI is so good at handling the easy, boring parts of a task so smoothly and so quickly that it makes us feel incredibly productive and powerful. It gives us this amazing sensation of fluency and mastery, even as, under the surface, it's actually making us slower, worse at our jobs, and letting our real skills just fade away.
So here's the bottom line. The real product of this new factory isn't the AI model. The product is us. It's a brand new kind of worker, one who is happily, willingly dependent on a machine that constantly makes them feel like a master, all while being completely unaware that their own skills are being hollowed out. It is dependency perfectly engineered to feel like freedom. Which leaves us with just one final lingering question. In this new gilded cage, where the bars are made of pure convenience and the lock is the feeling of power itself, if dependency feels this good, if it feels exactly like empowerment, how would you ever even know you're trapped?